Testing.
I gotta take the test real quick.
Hello, welcome to the Birdnest MMA Roundup, Episode 2. I am the Mocking Dirk. With me are my co-hosts, as always, the Mocking Kelb and the ever-injured Mr. Haven.
What's up?
How are you guys doing today?
No, it's been a wonderful day. Pretty chill day, actually, for me.
It's been a day.
Yeah, it's been a day for us, right?
Yeah. See, you didn't really drink last night.
Yeah, you fucking.
So
We had at least 4 of us
I've
partying.
always been pretty.
you don't get hangovers, but you also
don't
weren't
get-
drinking. Oh, you do get them.
Like, I have to, like.
Yeah.
I have to. For me to get a hangover, I have to throw up.
No, for me to get a hangover, I have to have a beer.
Yeah, like, some people are just different. Like, some people just drink one beer and they'll have a slight hangover.
Yeah.
And then some people drink 5 beers, they'll have a terrible hangover. I could do 12 beers and not have a hangover, or I could do 12 beers, but if I throw up with the 12 beers, I have a hangover.
If I'm just having beer, I'll have a hangover. It won't be too bad unless I'm getting I get smashed, throwing up drunk.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever I have liquor, it's going to be a bad hangover. And I pretty much only had liquor last night. I had one beer.
Yeah.
I had pretty much entirely liquor last night. That's why I think I didn't get sick, because I wasn't mixing stuff, but that actually lets me get into the housekeeping notes. A little bit of a disclaimer. We had our drinking contest, kind of, last night. We were partying, watching the UFC 252 card. It was a great, fun time. We had a blast. We all got shirtless and played clarinets at one point. It was a fun time.
Yeah,
But-
it was.
That being said, since we were drunk, we were kind of partying, we didn't necessarily pay super close attention to all the fights. The last couple on the main card, we definitely did. But other than that, I wasn't paying too much attention earlier. Anything before the JDS Rosenstruck fight, I really wasn't paying too much attention to.
Yeah, I rewatched. Not
And
rewatched.
you weren't here, but you rewatched.
I watched,
but-
the female fight that was a submission in the first round, and then I watched the
Was
Parker
that
That's
the
mine.
Felice Herrig?
Yep.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was nice as
yeah.
hell.
Another housekeeping note is Birdnest episode 12 is still being edited. That'll be up tomorrow. So this is going to come out. This will be going out first, and then our last podcast will go out after this.
Okay.
But those are all my housekeeping notes. Unless you guys have anything you want to say before we really get into it.
No, we're going. Good to go.
All right,
Shake and bake.
shake
Shake and bake, baby.
and bake. All right, let's get into our fight of the night. What is your personal best fight from UFC 252? Who would like to start off and go first?
Best fight.
Yeah, your fight of the night.
That would. Well, I guess I'll go first. Kelby mentioned it. It's the. I brought it up and Kelby brought it up, but the Felice Herrig versus fucking. How the fuck do I pronounce her name?
John DeRoba?
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's close enough.
John DeRoba? I don't know. I think that's how he would pronounce it.
But yeah, I was.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, outside of
Oh,
the
it was slick.
outside of the top 3 of the main card, that is the only other fight in the entire event that I remember watching and paying attention to.
I remember watching the Ashley Yoder fight distinctly, but I think that was because it was just before we started getting drunk. It's we were still sober during that. Then after that fight, because it was after that we did the car bombs during that fight. So I don't remember.
Oh god. Anyway, yeah, that was my fight of the night. I think she also earned one of the performance of the nights.
Oh yeah, I
with that
haven't
fight.
checked.
She did.
I did.
Yeah,
I
she did.
know.
2 people earned it.
Who was the one that got the dude? Last name starts with P. Got a huge upset. He got his extra
Yeah.
$50K.
Pull it up. I'm pulling it up right now.
But yeah, no, I definitely.
Yeah, Daniel Pineda.
Pineda. Yeah, he got big up. Who did he fight?
I honestly don't,
Pineda.
I'll pull
I
that
can't
up too.
remember off the top of my head. But yeah, that was he was like a big underdog.
I'm gonna start printing off like the sheets.
Yeah, we
up
can.
there. Because I get unlimited printing.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Just to put those up on one of the TVs.
you can cut this out. Like be quick to look at a key now. Be like,
Yeah, Daniel, he fought Herbert Burns.
Yeah, he fought. Okay. So yeah, Pineda fought Burns' brother.
Oh, they have
Herbert Burns.
Dana was hyping up Burns big time.
Didn't he? Herbert Burns lose his last fight too. I remember. I think I picked Herbert Burns because I'm like, I forget who he fought last time.
His last fight, he won both of his last 2 fights.
Okay, who was his last?
The last one was Evan Dunham.
Evan Dunham.
The one before that was Nate Landwehr.
Landwehr.
Yeah.
Who was before that?
Give me just a
Sorry.
moment.
He hasn't been at UFC long. That might have been the start.
Yeah, I think that might have been the start of his UFC.
I think I was against Evan Dunham then. Was it a decision win or?
No, round 1 submission.
Huh.
And
I don't remember what it was. I remember like
Well, you might have
very
been thinking.
favorably. No, it was Herbert Burns.
I thought you might have been thinking about the when he got into the UFC.
Yeah. Well, I very distinctly remember. I thought he lost the fight. I remember like rooting for him because he was Gilbert Burns' brother, and then I was just like, yeah, he's not the same level. But maybe I'm mistaking it for someone else. I don't know. But yeah, no, he's starting to look pretty good. Herbert Burns. I mean, that was a big upset, but he has a long future.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Kind of like Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, we'll get into Sean a little later in the show. The Sugar Show continues, gentlemen. The Sugar Show continues. So, Kelp, how about you get into your fight of the night?
My fight of the night was Philadelphia's own. And he's a Philadelphia police officer.
Yeah.
He's going back to work Tuesday.
God bless him.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I'm like, shit. I think that in itself gets him fired. But besides the point, he had a savage knee strike against Porter.
You want to say his name?
Chris Dawkins.
Yeah, Chris Dawkins. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even say his name.
Yeah.
Chris
No, you
Dawkins.
didn't say his name. You just said
Oh, my bad.
Philadelphia police officer.
I was just thinking about the police officer thing. Yeah, Chris Dawkins against Parker Porter was my fight of the week or fight of the night.
Fight of the night.
Right.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
Savage knee strike.
That was
for the
early
TKO.
on in the.
He was like the first or second fight of the night.
Yeah.
He was one of the early prelim fights.
Those were on ESPN this time too.
First round finish. Just a bliver, took the guy's head. And about it.
Yeah, I mean, like that. Like, it's kind of sad that we didn't pay all attention.
I was watching that a little bit. I think were you working out during that or? I don't know. I remember watching the Dawkins fight.
It was probably while I was working out, but we were talking about how we didn't really pay too much attention to a lot of the
earlier stuff
event. But looking through what people are saying about the event, apparently just so much. It was all phenomenal.
Yeah.
Everything we didn't pay attention to was fucking great.
Yeah.
It's just what?
What
are you talking about?
I was reading on it. And I was like, there was a lot. I guess it was pretty action packed.
It's kind of one of those things where the high level names. I mean, I'm not going to say they didn't perform, but it was just there's a lot of stuff going on with those other factors that happened.
Yeah.
And then it's all the kind of no names where there was no hype behind a lot of those fights that they kind of went well.
We'll pay close attention to next next UFC.
Yeah, we've got to do a lot better job of paying attention.
Well,
to
the Adesanya card doesn't look good on paper.
There's a couple good guys on there.
Yeah,
there's a couple Dawo or whatever his name. I'm pretty hot on that guy. There's a couple good fights on there, but yeah, no, especially now that we're doing an MMA centric Birdnest Roundup podcast episode, we really do gotta be paying more attention.
We gotta do a better job of giving these no names the respect.
Two people I guess Parker and.
All right, now my fight of the night was a big name guy. It was Biggie Boy Jairzinho Rosenstruck versus Junior Dos Santos. That was my fight of the night. It's the one I enjoyed the most.
I was going to pick that one until I saw that you picked it.
Well, that's fine. But yeah, another good knockout. He's back in the win column. Kind of what I said would happen in a way. JDS didn't look bad. It's just he's chinning.
it was just
he fights all these killers at heavyweight. He's old. He's chinny now, which is You don't blame them, but it's kind of just one of those things that it happens after a while.
Most of the big boys.
Yeah.
Eventually, they just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
That fight was my number 2 of the night, but that fight was real beautiful.
All right. Let's get moving on. I know it seems like we're kind of going quick, but it's going to get slowed down in a little bit here.
Yeah, well,
But this is actually my favorite segment on this show. The biggest of the week. We pick the biggest winners and the biggest losers of the MMA world of the week. Now, I always want to clarify this. Just because we calling them the loser of the week does not mean they're a loser. They're all fucking... Unless it is like a loser that week, like... Because sometimes there are some losers in MMA. War Machine's one. But... I think we all have the same loser this week, so let's start with him. He's not a loser. He's one of the greatest fighters ever. It's hard to say. He didn't have the worst week out of everyone. That would be Daniel Cormier.
We all picked that, right?
We all picked him as our biggest loser of the week.
I couldn't go anywhere else with that pick.
Yeah, Sean... What? Oh, okay. Sean was a close second to me, but, just DC, Sean has a whole career ahead of him.
He's 25.
DC, this was his last fight. He lost. That already was sucked, but just with the... pretty bad. One of the worst eye pokes I've seen since...
Yeah, just his eye in general is just sad.
Worst eye injury? Okay, no, there's been a couple one. Who had their... It was a female fighter. She got her eye really fucked. I want to say it was Jessica Eye. But,
the video we were watching before we started recording.
Jake Shields, Usman Paul Harris, that was a bad one. Obviously, Michael Bisping's would come to mind, but DC's eye, and there's no mouth.
Do they allow
what?
Eye cover? Because NBA, you can have eye cover while playing basketball.
You can't wear eye
but
cover.
you can't wear eye cover in football fighting.
No,
that's the only sport I know that you can't, because I know I've seen people in baseball do it, and I've seen basketball players do it, because some basketball players do get bad eye injuries, so they'll start wearing their little eye goggle things. They look fucking retarded, but...
Can't put that out, huh? Having some trouble?
I think there's been talk about trying to get goggles for fighters before. I haven't heard that conversation to prevent eye pokes, but you have to also think, imagine getting punched with a goggle on. That's going to do more damage.
Well, that's what I was thinking, too.
Because that'll break the...
I don't see how they'd be able to pull that off.
Yeah, it just... Well, the biggest thing... we can talk about this, actually. This is a big topic. The UFC gloves. They're not... Everyone kind of, I think, is starting to agree.
I guess
they're shit. You talk to any fighter, you're going to hear the fighter say, I don't care, I'm here to fight, I fight, it doesn't matter. We don't even need gloves. I'll do this bare knuckle. Or, you get the educated response. What do they say? Yeah, I like the old Pride gloves, I like the Bellator gloves, I like Trevor Whitman's Onyx gloves. Trevor Whitman does not sponsor this podcast of Onyx, but Onyx is an amazing product that we do recommend.
Trevor Whitman, you want to sponsor?
And he wants to sponsor us. Go ahead.
I'll tag you. Don't worry. Maybe tag him. Tag him in this video.
Do any of those gloves have tip protections at all, or anything weird, or no?
What do you mean? Well, his are really padded and all this other stuff. I'll play the JRE episode where he talks about them. But basically, all those gloves are curved.
Yeah.
They're curved to do this. So, and Whitman's are the best, where it's you can still grapple well. The thing with the UFC gloves, they make it to where it kind of forces your hand open, just naturally.
Yeah. And
it leads to so many eye pokes. It's one of those things that's in the sport, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think there have been less since they changed. You can't actually extend your eyes out, your fingers out towards your opponent. You have to have your fingers up. That's still...
Yeah.
It happens.
There was 2 eye pokes in that fight.
Well, yeah, DC eye poked Stipe at first. I keep saying Stipe. Stipe at first. But then, Stipe got DC back. Not on purpose, obviously, but he got him with a really mean eye poke. and I think they're just kind of moving in towards each other when it happened. He got like a full finger in there. It's a pretty bad eye injury. Yeah, I think they're saying he tore his cornea.
Yeah, that is what it's currently believed to be.
And I did hear something earlier today that he still hasn't regained his vision in that eye, but I couldn't find a article to actually support that. I just kind of heard it. I can't remember where I heard it, so I don't want to really spread that, but yeah, that kind of sucks. I know they're kind of waiting to see if it needs surgery or not. I hope we don't have two commentators with only one eye.
It doesn't look good for the sport. For up and coming fans will come in to watch. So you guys got 2 out of 3 people without some eyes.
I'm just saying if it happened, all I'm going to say is Felder and Cruz maybe should just think about retiring now. Maybe not continue. They want to keep their eyes.
Yeah. All these legends are going out.
Paul Felder's got the fight with that Twitter fan.
Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta go right for that. It's so fucked up. I'm joking about it, but go ahead and move on.
It's weird, but it's kind of true.
DC probably isn't going to be joking about it, but I guarantee you, give DC a couple of years, I guarantee you DC will crack a joke about it.
DC will be cracking a joke once he can see again and his eye doesn't hurt.
But Beeb actually had high praises for DC.
Oh yeah,
on Twitter.
Teammate.
Yeah, very high praises.
I mean, I don't think anyone's shitting on. I mean, okay, obviously there's the DC haters out there that are shitting on, but even John Jones during the fight was rooting for DC.
Yeah, let's be real here. If John Jones can praise DC, I don't think anyone else has any business hating on him.
Yeah, like
he's a great man outside of the sport.
Inside of the sport, he's one of the greatest too.
Well, I'm saying not like in the cage, but like what he does for the wrestling community.
Yeah. So let's get into the winners of the week. Since me and Jacob have the same winner, actually, Kelby, how about you go first? Who is your biggest winner of the week?
My biggest winner of the week?
Yeah.
Rosenstruck. Rosenstruck.
Yeah, Jazzy.
Yeah, beating
boy, JDS.
Yeah, beating a legend at rank 5. I mean, he's not really gonna go up too much in rank. He's just gonna flip with JDS, is my guess, but it definitely helps him put his name up there in consideration.
It's great that he came right back off of that loss from Ngannou. He beat a former champ. I mean, once again, JDS is kind of chinny. I think no one expected JDS to win this fight, but you're like, okay, he definitely could. We just lost our internet connection in there.
Yeah,
but
at the end of the day, he's still Junior Dos Santos. He still very well could have.
Yeah. I still have it on my computer, so it's good. We just lost on the TV. It's being reconnected. There it is. Oh my gosh, that fire's flick. Gotta catch up.
Fast forward!
2 times speed.
Jeez. There it goes. But, that was funny. I'm gonna leave that in. That's just funny. Yeah, I think it was a great win for Rosenstruck. Is that in our... I guess we can talk about then the fight recap if we want.
What?
We can talk about it now, actually. I might skip the fight recap with how much we've already talked about these top 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, most of the fight recap is the 3 fights we gotta talk about.
So let's talk about Rosenstruck now. Where would you like to see Rosenstruck go from here? Like, so he lost to Ngannou, and Ngannou's
Dana almost explicitly said, yeah, Ngannou's next for the title.
Well, so there's Curtis Blades and there's Derek Lewis are the 2 big ones.
I think Rosenstruck might need to fight one more person right below him.
I mean, Rosenstruck kind of deserves to be in that spot. It's weird with him because he's...
Well, just who's above him is the problem.
Yeah, well...
And I think Lewis needs... I don't think Lewis should get the Rosenstruck fight. I think Lewis needs to get the Blades or... I think it would be Blades. Because Nagano's going for Steve.
Yeah, Nagano's next. But yeah, so I mean, well, who else? So you want Jairzinho to fight someone below him then?
Who?
You would want Jairzinho to fight someone below him then? Because the only people above him are Blades, Lewis, and Ngannou. Then DC, but DC's going to be retiring. Right now, JDS is above him. I just beat him, then there's the champ.
Yeah.
So there's no one really above him besides you get the odd man out between unless if they do book Blades and Lewis.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I'm thinking is going to happen is Blades Lewis, and then
I don't think they're going to do that. I think
you think they're going to wait for the Nagano fight to happen.
I honestly think they might be trying to book Derek Lewis and Jairzinho. I don't know because it's hard because Francis has fought Blades, Lewis, and Rosenstruik. Go ahead.
This
I'm on
feeds in.
Go ahead.
That's why I raised my hand, but I just want to put this thought out there because of what Dana White said of in relation to John Jones moving up to heavyweight.
Yeah.
John Jones isn't going to get the next title shot, but he also said he's interested in the idea of a heavyweight bout for Jones.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think the Izzy Jones fight has to happen. You know what I mean? And I don't see John Jones moving back down once he goes up.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. I know I'm kind of on the outs with that. I just don't see, that's a big, think it, because he's going to be wanting to fight around 230. I mean, maybe even 240.
Yeah, honestly,
dropping 30 pounds to go and defend, I don't know if that'd be a smart move for Jones if he plans on trying to be defending both. I think if he moves to heavyweight, he moves to heavyweight.
Yeah, I don't see him defending both.
So.
Yeah, didn't mean to talk over you. I was thinking out loud. My bad.
No worries.
But that's actually a really tough thing because of.
Yeah. And Izzy wants to defend 2-3 more times.
Yeah, that's the issue is they can't really book that Izzy Jones fight until Izzy's done defending middleweight. And
yeah. Well, and that's the thing that I always kind of.
So honestly, it's kind of.
It's what do you want to see
Jones. More? Honestly, I think it's up to Jones. How badly does Jones want to fight Izzy?
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where I don't know. It's because I can definitely see him moving to heavyweight sooner, but if he moves to heavyweight, I think you'll lose the Izzy fight. Yeah, maybe Jones could cut back down to fight Izzy at 205, but I don't know if that would be for a belt. It's just one of those things.
That's why I said
I
think it's up to Jones.
It's also weird for a champion to move up to a weight class and fight someone not for a belt. Because I don't think that's really ever happened while a person was an active champion.
Yeah.
Because, so Holloway did move up and fight Poirier, but that was for an interim belt.
Especially how many times John Jones has defended his fucking belt.
Yeah.
It's not like he's just a one and gone.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where... But, it's just one of those things. I think once he moves up, he's done with light heavy.
Oh yeah, almost.
It's just that's my personal opinion. I don't think he's said that. I don't think Dana's said that. But Jones has said, "Hey, I'm going to vacate." He said he was going to vacate the light heavyweight belt too a couple months ago. He hasn't done that, but
I'm glad he kind of made an announcement about it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he's planning on having Jones is going to be fighting before the end of the year. That's from something I heard. He will fight one more time in 2020. I forget. I heard that last week, I think. But
could we get an end of year fight?
Yeah, it'll probably be one of the last big fight of the year. But you just look at back to Jairzinho. You look at him. The only guys above him are Lewis, Blades, and Ngannou. Ngannou's getting the next shot at Stipe. But Ngannou has beaten Blades twice. He beat Rosenstruik with an emphatic KO. He didn't beat Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis should be next in line over Curtis Blades, personally. Because, hey... I'm not against the Lewis-Blades fight. But I want to see Lewis versus Ngannou, too. I know a lot of people are against that fight because of how boring the first fight was. And it sounds like a lot of people are still against it, but I think they're both very different fighters now. I think... It's just one of those things.
I'm most interested in that fight in particular, just because I think that'd be a point where Ngannou doesn't just knock the other guy the hell out.
Yeah.
And we get to see if Ngannou still has that problem.
But
getting tuckered out.
And the thing is, you actually look below him.
There's
Overeem, Volkov. Saki, and then Olenek. I can't see them trying to match any of those guys with.
The only one is Overeem, and that's...
He already beat Overeem.
Did he?
Yeah, he knocked him out in the last. He fucked up his lip. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Now you could run that back because Overeem was winning the fight. But,
yeah, people were asking for them to run that back too.
So you could run that fight back, I guess.
That's really about the only one though.
But I don't know. I would rather see him fight Blades. I'd rather see him fight Blades than have him rematch Overeem. But outside of that, I mean, if you go past Olenek, you got Walt Harris, you get I can't pronounce his last name, but Shamil. Then you got Fabricio, you got Sergey Pavlovich, and then you got Cyril Gain at 15. It's just that there's a major. I mean, no offense to Walt Harris, but once you get past 10, there's a serious drop off, and even like Augusto Sakai, I don't hold him in that high regard either.
I think Rosenstruck just kind of has to sit and wait.
Yeah. Well,
and see what comes his way.
Yeah, give him some time, I think. What do you want?
Just grab a random one.
As much, obviously, as much as we've been.
I just dunked that shit. Dunked that Fiji.
Been against fighters that are near the top, just kind of sitting and waiting for fights to come to them. I just don't think he has a choice but to just sit there and wait to see what the UFC offers him.
Like I said, I want Blades. I want Lewis to sit out, and Ngannou versus Stipe. The good thing, I don't think Stipe really took any damage in the fight. But let's get into our pick. Our biggest winner of the week. We gotta go with Marlon Chito Vera.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can say what you will. Yeah, Sean got injured. It wasn't really Chito that injured Sean. It just seemed like I don't know if it was it looks like he just rolled something the wrong way and fucked it up. It was the same leg he had injured before. I'm curious to see if there's anything comes out like he injured something in training or something like that, but I don't know. But yeah, Cheeto has to be my biggest winner of the week. Even more than DC. Even more than Stipe. I think the biggest reason because that eye poke. I mean, I know Dana White came out and said, like, hey, that eye poke didn't really. Can I say it wasn't a factor in the fight? I think it definitely was. In the later 2 rounds. I still, with how that fight was going, see Stipe winning. But you did see a serious decline in the stand-up ability of DC after the eye poke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my only issue with that argument, though, and I said this when we were watching this, is, he didn't get 5 minutes, but we got to after Stipe's hand was raised, and he still couldn't see. So what would 5 minutes have really done, except maybe get a doctor to stop that fight?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The doctor, like... And one thing, so Mark Goddard did kind of come out and say this one reason why I think everyone like respects Mark Goddard is because he's fucking man. I'll bleep it, but so Goddard came out and DC was saying like, trying to tell Goddard that like, hey, there's an eye poke, and I said no, it was a punch, and then in between rounds, he said, okay, no, that was an eye poke, but hey, I can't do anything now. It wasn't intentional, so that's one. Okay, I forget who said it. I think it was John McCarthy, and he says, in an intentional foul, you have to take a point, but that's not the only time you need to take a point. Any foul, intentional or not, accidental, if it changes the course of the fight, you have to take a point. That definitely changed it. So, yeah, the only other thing I could see Mark Goddard doing was taking a point. He could have gone down at the start of the round because there is a precedent for refs doing that. What's his name? It was another heavyweight fight not too long ago. He took 2 points away from him. Like something happened fouls in the second round. He didn't necessarily see him when it happened. He kind of saw him at the end, and then at the start of the third round, he had took 2 points away before the round started. So, I mean, there is a precedent, but even then, taking 1 point away from Stipe wouldn't have really changed too much. But I don't know why we're talking about Stipe DC. We're supposed to be talking about Cheeto.
Cheeto's definitely biggest winner of the week, because while we both agree none of Sean O'Malley's stock has gone down, but Vera definitely has at least taken some of the thunder.
Yeah, Cheeto definitely caught some thunder there. But at the same time, since O'Malley's stock didn't go down, you kind of wonder how much. He caught a little bit. I can see them trying to run that fight back.
Oh yeah. Almost.
Maybe not immediately, but in the future.
Well, obviously, yeah, because O'Malley's got to go.
Not even talking about the injury.
He's got.
I don't think O'Malley's next fight back will be against Vera.
Oh, it probably won't be.
But I see them running that fight back at a later date. But let's actually get into the next topic. Sean versus Cheeto. What are our thoughts on the fight? Where do we see the future for both those fighters? Any future potential matches? Let's start with the thoughts on the fight itself. I think we've already touched it. My opinion is that, hey, look, Cheeto won the fight, Sean lost the fight, but there was really no loser in the fight. Sean injured himself. Cheeto saw the opportunity and went for the finish. Good on him. He got it. No disrespect. Do what you're supposed to do. Sean was being carried out on the stretcher, getting that leg looked at. So I haven't heard anything else about it so far, but I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, you heard me just before the fight was coming onto the TV. I was kind of talking down Marlon Vera, but obviously Marlon Vera proved me fairly wrong. Marlon Vera is definitely a better fighter than I thought he was, and it's kind of unfortunate that this is how he got his win.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as a person who fucking does what Sean O'Malley did to injure himself in that fight, does it to himself all the goddamn fucking time, that shit fucking hurts. So, quite frankly, good on Sean for fucking not immediately falling to the fucking floor. He fucking fucked his leg, and then was still walking for a few moments before he fucking hit the ground, so...
It looks like he might have tore something. Kelp?
Sean O'Malley, with that... Well, it was a calf kick that fucked him up. And then he went and twisted it.
It wasn't really a kick that fucked him up. He twisted it first, and then...
Well, I was just reading on it, and Dana came out saying it was a calf kick. And then Marlon Vera came back saying, yeah, my shin's stronger than his calf.
Yeah, of course Marlon Vera's going to say that, though. So, Vera was not ranked going into this fight. Sean was sitting at 14. Does Sean get kicked out of the top 15, or Murad Duvall something is number 15, or so do they bump Sean down to 15 and just put Vera at 14, or what do you think they do?
That's probably what they're going to do.
Yeah,
because again, like we said, Sean didn't really lose any stock.
Yeah.
He got...
Well, and with just how the UFC rankings work, popularity is a factor, so I don't see them trying to kick O'Malley out. I think it depends if he's going to be out with injury or not.
He's a nice 15.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait until whether or not they know how long Sean's going to be gone.
Yeah, and maybe he's not going to be gone long at all. Who knows?
Or a career-ending injury.
I don't think it's a career-ending. I don't think it's that bad.
He's Dominic Cruz himself.
Well, Dominic Cruz is still an active fighter, so...
For now.
That was a terrible fight.
We're not gonna get it. We're not gonna get back into that.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. So who's a few? Okay, let's take a look at the rankings really quick. Who would you like to see Chito Vera go on and fight next? Personally, I would like top 10 guy. I think Cody Stamann, Rob Font would be nice for him. Maybe go as high as a Sun Sao, but I wouldn't want anyone really past that. I kind of want I like kind of Font, Stamann. You can maybe do Cruz if you want, and maybe we can get back into that. But no, I think those are kind of my next two. I feel like Stamann or Rob Font are like my next two guys for. I think Rob Font might actually have a fight lined up though.
Yeah,
I remember something about it, but I can't recall.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cody Stamann idea. Another good one would be Song Yadong.
He could run that bag of Song Yadong, yeah. So, what was it? I mean, Vera was on like a 6-fight win streak or something like that at bantamweight. And he actually fought Song Yadong at featherweight and lost a controversial decision. And then now he won again at bantam. So yeah, I definitely could see them going against Song Yadong, but since Yadong's only 13, I think Chito might want to go. I think he can, right now where he has his momentum, I think he could try to go get higher ahead and maybe rematch Yadong at a later time, but I can definitely see them going against him now. And I would favor Chito in that fight. Stamann would be a much closer fight, but I think I would edge out Stamann over Vera right now, but who knows?
Yeah.
Any fights stand out for you guys that you might want to see, or?
I mean, I just said mine.
Song Yadong.
Song Yadong is the ones you go on?
Yeah.
Alright.
I mean, to be fair, just to entertain the idea, Marlon Vera, Dominic Cruz.
See,
Put that man into retirement.
I'm going to say no on Dominic Cruz because I want that to be Sean O'Malley's next fight. Dominic Cruz. Dominic Cruz is coming off of a loss.
O'Malley's now coming off of a
O'Malley's
loss.
coming off a loss. Match them up against each other.
Put that man into retirement.
Do the day the usual.
Day the usual. Alright. Any other thoughts on Sean, Chito Vera? Anything else?
Not really.
To say? Alright.
Just
So,
hopefully Sean gets better soon.
do we want to talk about Stipe DC now, or do we want to take an intermission? Okay, Stipe versus DC. The trilogy is in the books. DC has lost 2 trilogies now. One against Jones, one against Stipe. It's tough for him. He is saying he's he actually didn't say he was retired at the end of it.
Yeah, he didn't.
He didn't say he was retired. He says I will only. He's like I'm pretty done. He's like I think I'm done. I'd only fight for title. I only fight for title fights, and I don't think I'm getting another title fight.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he won't get another title fight. If there's an opening in there and he really wants it and the promotion wants it, I can see them maybe doing it. I would rather not. I'd rather DC retire.
Yeah.
I think we need to figure out how his eye comes back.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a factor too. But I think DC's done personally, and I'd like it if he would be done.
Yeah, don't do the BJ Penn.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the greatest fighters. You're very, very much in the conversation for one of the best fighters we've had in the last decade, at least, at minimum.
Took down Anderson Silva in his prime.
I wouldn't necessarily say prime. That was after, but yeah.
Yeah, but at least in the last decade, one of the best fighters the UFC's had.
Just fought Anderson Silva, not at middleweight.
Yeah. Beat Derek Lewis.
Just go ahead and
Yeah.
be done. You're at the top. Just call it quits. DC has nothing left to prove, really.
It's the double champ, first ever light heavyweight and heavyweight champ at the same time.
There's that too.
There's one fight I want to see him against. Ryan Bader, the Bellator heavyweight lightweight champ.
God.
Because DCS, I want the easiest fight in the division. I want Ryan Bader. I love that line. DC, I think that he is one of the most underrated guys on the mic. Like, when he talks shit, it cuts. Then there was, what do you call it? All his, talk to John Jones. He's like, hey, when in wrestling, if you can't get your grades in order, you don't compete. If you don't compete, you don't get the medal.
Yeah.
So when John Jones gets his academics in order, and then the best is the Ryan Bader one. It's like, I said I want the easiest fight in the division. I want Ryan Bader. Ugh. He is so underrated because you think of DC as a nice guy, a great commentator, a great fighter. You don't think of him as one of the best shit talkers, but he really is.
That man says some things that really just cut into you.
I think he's definitely a better shit talker than John Jones, actually, because John Jones shit talks pretty, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's been getting a little bit better. But outside the eye
He's been
poke,
getting his academics in order.
outside the eye poke, what were your thoughts on the fight itself? I thought it was solid. I think it was definitely the least active of the three. You could definitely tell both guys they had experience fighting each other. They kind of knew what to look out for. They did a lot of things different in this fight than the previous two. I enjoyed
double
the fight.
unders.
Huh?
Double unders.
Yeah, a lot more double underhook, a lot less fighting for wrist control from DC. Really didn't initiate too much wrestling. I mean, but part of that was Stipe fighting off the clinch very well and changing that up. It was a fun fight, interesting fight.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It didn't quite end the way I thought it was going to end, obviously.
Yeah.
But I did also hedge that bet and say it was either going to go to decision or be a late finish.
Yeah.
And it was just a really good fight by Stipe. Stipe fought smart, and as we said during episode 12, ?
You think so?
Stipe's adaptability paid off in dividends this time.
Definitely.
That and DC didn't really initiate much wrestling at all.
I think he was trying to. I mean, DC always really has initiated his wrestling from the clinch. He doesn't really just shoot in.
Yeah.
And just Stipe was able to control the clinch and break it off. And I don't know. I think Stipe was just ready for DC in this fight. He kind of had his number. But Kelly, what are your general thoughts on the fight?
I think DC popped him a couple times pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were both getting popped by each other. There was some good striking in there.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like I was telling Derek, one of the fight stat accounts that I follow put together the stats from the first two. DC's had strike differential was plus 4 strike differential over Stipe. Had more takedowns than Stipe. DC on stats on paper beat the absolute crap out of Stipe in the first two fights.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Stipe won the second one, and then he won this one.
Yeah, definitely. Man.
They're very equal fighters.
I do think they are two of those fighters where if you just keep bringing the fight back, they're just going to keep trading wins.
Yeah, this is probably one of the best trilogies.
Yeah. I really do hate the eye poke that happened in it. I mean, what can you do? Shit happens, but it's like...
I can tell you what we do about it. UFC stops using their goddamn gloves. Get new ones.
Yeah, sure.
Get ones that are not shit.
That'll happen.
Fuck that shit.
That's not gonna happen. It should happen. It should have happened a long time ago, but
Fucking get, or very minimum, get a new production company building them. Right? That'd be the word.
sure.
It's close enough to the word. We'll say that, production company. Get new people making them, so make them better.
That's pretty much the same thing as before, but just
No,
just
because
the
before I
design
said
needs to
stop
change.
using their gloves.
The design just needs to change. Like, I don't know. So let's talk about the GOAT status now. Going into the fight, was the most important title fight in heavyweight history. The winner would be pretty much all confirmed to be the heavyweight GOAT. Hard to argue that. Stipe, I think, is considered to be the heavyweight GOAT now in terms of UFC. Even with the eye poke, that controversy, I think that point stands. He's tied Couture's things, and he looks like he has several fights left in him. So, any argument on that, or?
I mean, my opinion on it still hasn't changed, and that's the whole. It's an incredibly powerful argument. I'm not going to disagree that he's not, but there are still the two big question marks that I want to see. Maybe he just can't. Maybe as much as I may favor him against Blades and Lewis, I still want to see him fight him.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying that. I just think for right now he is considered the. In terms of UFC, it's hard to argue.
The UFC stopped today.
Incredible.
Yeah. Now the only thing is because of that controversy and because of the fight, he got a decision. He won a unanimous decision. 4-1, 4-1, 3-2. Good win. I don't think that was a performance that really would put you ahead in terms of the greater GOAT conversation. You know, if he came out and stopped DC similar to how he did in the second fight, I think his stock goes up in the overall all of MMA GOAT conversation. But just because of the controversy with the eye poke and then that it did go to decision, not that decision fighting is a bad thing. It's just finishes matter. A finish puts the exclamation point on the end of the sentence.
Yep.
There's no question or doubt.
Yeah. So something like that, I don't know. I still stand by. I think Kane's my MMA GOAT. Fabricio, Fedor, even though I don't think too highly of him, but Fedor, DC, Fabricio all belong in there. Josh Barnett's somewhere in that conversation. He's not the top, but he's somewhere in that conversation.
Gracie?
Hell, Overeem somewhere. I mean, Overeem had belts everywhere else except for...
Yeah, it's still the only place he still hasn't gotten.
I don't know if he ever got one in Bellator, and wouldn't have gotten one in one or Risen, but everywhere before then, he had him. Dreams, I think he had Rings, Strikeforce, Pride.
Was the incredibly dominant kickboxing champion.
Yeah. So, are we pretty much done with this Stipe DC? I think we've talked about it so much. There's not too much left to say about it.
We've been talking about it over the last several episodes. Yeah. I don't think there's much more we can say about it.
Now we know.
Okay. Last thing, before we go to intermission. The next fight for Stipe is Ngannou, pretty much.
Yep.
The other two guys are going to be Lewis and Blades. Just really quick, off the top of your head, how do you favor Stipe in those three matchups? I think his hardest fight is... I actually think Lewis is his hardest fight. I think Ngannou might be the easiest fight, even though he's going to be the strongest striker.
Yeah.
I think Stipe's chin's just insane, and he's good. I think Stipe's wrestling has actually been shown these DC fights where it's, hey, his wrestling's legit too. I think Lewis is just sheer physical might gives him a great advantage, and because of how just insanely explosive and athletic he is. Fuck. Yeah, he's going to try to go after him.
I don't think he's fought anybody that aggressive.
He's going to go after him.
Especially if he's lighter.
Yeah, a lot like Costa. Just athleticism, but
his kicking game is getting pretty fucking good too.
the flying knees,
Give him another
head
year.
kicks, backside kicks, like
Not just head kicks, incredibly fast head kicks for a man of his size.
explosive and athletic. I think that's his. I think Lewis is the biggest threat to Stipe.
Especially if Lewis is going to be the last out of the three.
I don't. I mean,
There's
know
almost no way Lewis is the last of the three unless they book Blades and Lewis loses to Blades.
Okay.
I don't.
That's
put
the only way
Blades-
that happens.
I mean, I just don't put Blades above Lewis. I know he is in the rankings. I just don't put Blades there.
So you really think they'll have it'll be Nagano? If he beats Nagano, then it'll be Lewis.
I'd go for Lewis after that. Yeah. And I mean, I think he's the better matchup. I want to see that from more, but I also think fan wise, I think people would like to see Lewis back in the title picture. I think Blades needs a good win. That's gonna be emphatic, because that's the biggest thing. Because Blades is coming off a win, but remember what Dana said? Like, hey, Blades is talking all this shit. I'm going to smash this guy. And they kind of put on you won, but you didn't put on an amazing performance. You put on a good performance. A winning performance.
He didn't put up a performance that lives up to what he once,
Yeah.
what he did prior to that.
Yeah, you didn't have that exclamation point on the end of the sentence.
Yeah, I mean,
And Lewis, win or lose, has an exclamation point on his sentences, with the exception of the first Nagano fight.
yeah, and like that's point right there is the only reason I'd say Lewis is the harder fight for Stipe.
Yeah.
100% Nagano's Stipe's easiest fight of those three. No offense to Nagano.
I think the fact that Stipe went 5 rounds with Nagano.
Yeah.
And yes, Nagano's a better fighter. I don't know if he's necessarily stronger. I don't know if his punching strength is stronger or anything like that. I don't know if Stipe's chinnier since then.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, if
He
Curtis...
took some bombs from DC in this last fight, so... No, I'm saying DC hits harder than Nagano. Obviously not, but...
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I don't think anybody
it
takes
comes
the
down to the whole...
What was that?
For me, it comes down to the whole Blades didn't look all that he didn't live up to what I know Curtis Blades to be, or Curtis Blades has shown. So like, it's just maybe Curtis Blades just doesn't have a fire at the moment, or something. But
Well, I have a topic later on. It's in the bullshit time that I want something to mention that I think it's going to really spring some life into the heavyweight division, but I'll save that for later.
but yeah, Lewis is the hardest, then Blades, then Nagano.
Now, Caleb, I know you're not on board for that. I know you got Blades at the top of your list.
For what?
What we're talking about. Why? You gotta speak up. You're getting really quiet.
Right, I didn't hear the question.
Stipe's next 3 fights. Which one is their hardest? Which one is his hardest
Lewis,
fight?
Blades, Nagano. I know you're pretty hot on Blades.
His next 3? Or
Those are the next 3 guys.
Oh, no, hang on. I'm talking to myself. Next 3. I think his hardest fight in order: Francis, Lewis, and Blades.
Alright.
I just think Blades is going to be second, and Lewis will be third.
Why do you think Blades would be second then?
I think Lewis is really going to take this time off.
Yeah, I mean,
Seriously. And then he's only going to have one more fight next, and then he will fight Stipe, if Stipe's still there. That's if everything goes to plan.
Yeah, that is of course if
Like,
he gets past Nagano. And I mean, it's definitely a fair fight in that.
Like, I don't think Stipe is going to just dominantly just kill Nagano either.
I think we might see a very similar performance to the first fight.
Yeah.
Which was pretty dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Nagano's wrestling is really not great, and
And
best way to avoid Nagano's power is to wrestle him.
Yeah.
And he says he works on it, but we haven't seen. That's the thing. Like, we've seen DC's wrestling improve, we've seen Blade's striking improve, we haven't seen Nagano improve in anything except with just more confident in his striking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, maybe you can just double down on it, but I don't know.
Who knows?
Um,
We will see sometime within a year.
But no, what you're saying, I mean, yeah, I understand Lewis is taking some time off. I don't think he's taking like a year off or anything like that. I think it's just going to be a couple months. And it's probably going to be 4 or 5 months till the next.
Well, no, well, he's talking about like the weight loss, and then he was talking about he's not going to fight till like fucking COVID ends.
Yeah,
what he was saying.
I don't think that's the case, really.
I'm just going off of what the dude said.
I kind of go off of what he said the first time with it, just like he wants to lose the weight and then he wants to get back in fighting. Obviously, he wants COVID in, but I think that's mostly because he thinks it'll be easier for him to lose the weight once COVID's over.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of getting into it. I think he's going to be trying to lose the weight. And I mean, I think Ngannou Steve is going to happen probably 5-6 months from now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Stipe, even before the DC, he wasn't the most active champion. I don't see him that changing, really.
Yeah.